My mom passed away when I was 18 years old. From the moment when she died, like what we got from the company was a flower arrangement. That was it, right? And then we had to figure it out after that. So you give your life to these companies, you get a flower arrangement, like, so thank you, no thanks. Right. I'll rather put my time and energy into something else and buy my own flowers. My family history has been survival. So we've never had anything to give to the next generation at the end of the day. I don't want them to have to start from scratch.
Hello, hello. So today we have with us Shelly. Shelly is an incredible investor already. She's just getting started, but her deal and her process and how she thinks about things has inspired all of us. And so we wanted to get her in for a sensei session. And I'm really excited to talk to her today. Thank you for joining us, Shelly. It's so exciting.
Thank you. This is an honor.
Of course, absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Can you tell everybody about you, who you are, where you're from, what you do or did for a living? Just some background. Help us get to know you.
So, hi everyone. So, my name is Shelly Goland. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I currently live in Northern Virginia with my husband. I've got two adult children, 36 and 29, and they have both joined me on this real estate journey. So, that's kind of exciting. In terms of my background, I spent 30 years building a career at a Fortune 100 financial services company, essentially the old fashioned way. So, I started as a secretary when I first came in and worked my way up through multiple roles, and the most recent of which was a director of business development. So, I led a national sales team and selling financial payment solutions to enterprise sized companies like $1 billion in revenue and above, and just very high stress, very demanding environment, lots of travel, super high quotas. I think that the highest quota we had one year was we had to deliver over $1 billion in new sales, like so new clients coming in. So just to kind of give you an idea of the pressure of what we were under. And then just in terms of my role, really responsible for developing sales strategies, managing KPIs, coaching and developing my team, building pipelines, like the whole shebang, right? Moving deals through the sales cycle. I mean, it was fulfilling at the very least, but I will tell you, like outwardly, I felt like I was handling it great, but inside, my body was like screaming, right? My body was really breaking down. And at one point, a couple of years ago, I really started to have a lot of back pain. And I did all the things. I went to the chiropractor, I went to PT, then I ended up at a rheumatologist, then a pain management specialist, then started getting epidural injections and pain medicine. Like it was insane. And it went on for a couple of years. And in December of 2024, we pretty much hit a wall. Like I had exhausted all conservative treatments and had to have back surgery at the end of the day. So while I'm doing that, had my surgery, ended up having all these complications. I had a spinal fluid leak. My wound wouldn't heal. I had to have another surgery in 2 weeks. Like it was a mess. So finally, I'm on FMLA recovering, and my company does a reorg, right? And my position is eliminated. I mean, you can imagine, after obviously going through all of that personally, and then all, putting in 30 years at a company, like it's devastating in the moment. But it really didn't take me long to realize that this was the best damn thing that could have ever happened to me. And I will tell you, like personally, if it didn't happen, I don't think I would have had the courage or even just to stop myself and think, you know what, girl, you may want to get off of this hamster wheel. Like, I don't think it would have occurred to me to do that. So I would have just kind of kept going, and especially when you're in sales and you're chasing the dollar and everything else, like it's all consuming. So I took my little severance package because I'd been there so long. I think I got like 60 weeks of severance. And I was like, okay, you have a moment now where you can sit back and think about life and what it is that you really want to do. And truthfully, I just could not imagine going back to that type of job. Like I said, it was all consuming. The physical and mental demands were incredible. So I just started to think about like, what do I really want my life to look like? And it wasn't that, right? So I started, just kind of having conversations with some friends and so on. And a really dear friend of mine, she and I were chatting. And I said, like I've been thinking about real estate. I had done real estate maybe 15 years ago. And that's a whole other story. I'll talk about that. It was a hot mess. But I was like, I know there's a better way to do it. And I think I want to, kind of start to do some research. So she says to me, her sister actually joined a program a few years ago. And she lives out in the Northwest. And, she's buying these properties and so on. She's like, let me reach out to her and find out what, who she's working with and so forth. And she came back to me with open spaces. So I started looking into it, and And at the time of Palak, I think you were doing some like sessions on a Sunday just to talk about the program and so forth. So my son and I, like we came in my office here, he's laying on the couch over there and I dial in and I said, let's figure out what this thing is all about. And from the moment we got into it, it's like the light bulb started going off because truthfully, there's so much noise in the space. Like you can't open Instagram or Facebook without seeing a zillion ads of programs here or there. But I would tell you, if it wasn't for someone vouching for the program, I don't know. But we did it and we went through it. And I just felt like this seems and feels like it's a good move for us. And then we reached out and had to start having our conversations. And here I am, part of Open Spaces. And I couldn't be more excited about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. And a few years ago, whoever recommended us to you, they had been through the program a few years ago.
Yeah, she had been through the program. I think she said she had bought like 5 or 6 properties. I don't know. I didn't speak to her directly. I was
Yeah,
speaking to her sister, who's my friend. But that's all I needed to hear, right? I didn't
that's
need
amazing.
firsthand knowledge because I trusted the person so much. And it's just you think about sometimes like when you're having all of these ideas, like do you speak it out loud or do you just kind of hold it to yourself? I will tell you, speak it out loud, because the last thing I would have thought in that conversation that I was going to get some information that was going to change the course of my life and then really get me excited about building and doing something different and saying this is going to be my primary from here on out. Like I would never have thought that conversation would have yielded. So I don't even think she knows because we haven't talked in a couple of months. I need to call her and let her know what
Yeah,
she got me into and
yeah, I
thank
love
her,
that.
quite honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great story. Yeah. I'm going to tell you like this, we've been in this coaching business for 7 or 8 years. I've been running this business, but like this is why I continue doing it because of this story. Like this is what I live for. This is like our passion. Everyone on the team is rooting for you guys every time you guys get a property under contract. So we do it because it truly means a lot to us to see you guys succeed. So thank you for sharing that. Like on my darkest days, I listen to this.
You guys, like
We love it.
I give it up to you all because this program is top notch.
Yeah, we love it. We love it so much. Thank you. Yeah. Let's start with your portfolio and your first property. So right now you're at your first property. You decided to go with a multifamily as your first deal. Tell us about your deal.
Yeah, so I had started looking I didn't start in Philadelphia. I actually reached out to a few people to talk about like markets and where I should be thinking about investing. And I landed on Philly because it's a 3-hour drive from me. So one of the things is I wanted to be able to get there if I needed to. And then also there's just so many resources that have already been established in this area. So I figured for my first time, like why make it hard on yourself the first time out, right? I live in I guess the suburban area of DC, Washington, DC, and there's nothing to be bird here. It's so expensive. So you start thinking about the markets, like in the periphery and the ones that you can get to. So ended up in Philly. And I had been looking and talking to different realtors and so forth, looking for kind of, the basic avatar that, we talk about, like a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, single family home. And I just wasn't like, the price point has gone up somewhat in Philly, in my opinion, in like the areas that you want to be in. And I just wasn't seeing anything that made sense. And then I just had the realization that, why are you limiting yourself to just these realtors? Like start branching out and, opening yourself up to others. So I spent some time thinking just from an acquisition standpoint, who do I need to be talking to? And then I started signing up for some of these wholesalers. And one actually, there's a bunch that will just now start to kind of sending you listings and so on via email. But there was one guy who actually picked up the phone and called me and I'm in sales, like I appreciate a good phone call. And he wanted to know, like, what are you thinking about? Like, talk to me about like what your goals are. And it was like, he's speaking my language. And it was a young guy too. And I just thought I see him and I thought about my son and we just kind of picked it up from there. So he sent me a few, but one really intrigued me. And it was a triplex in the Belmont area, which is about a mile and a half outside of University City.
Mhm.
And I thought it was, prime location. The price was right. I was very weary because it's a wholesale deal. And I've heard some questions about, are they legit? They tag on an extra $10,000 assignment fee to it. So is that worth it? And I said, I put it into the calculator and said, all right, even with the $10,000 fee, the numbers seem to work here. So I had a couple of GCs go out, take a look at it, give me an estimate. And I just decided to pull the trigger. Like I was so eager. I joined in December and this is the early April timeframe. And I felt like I was way behind the 8 ball, right? right? Because you talk to folks in here and everybody, like every call, you get these wins, everybody's closing, and I'm having a heart attack, nothing's happening. And maybe that's why I pulled the trigger. I don't know. I said, I just need to get on the board at the end of the day, but I did. So do you want me to walk through what the numbers look like on
Sure, let's do it.
It was 220 for the property plus 10,000 for the assignment fee. So 230. Our rehab costs were 105,000. The ARVs in the area, this is why I got excited, were around 450, right? So 450 realistically up to 495 is what we were seeing. The rents, it was I have a studio, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom in this triplex. So conservatively, the rents could be like 4,700 to 5,000 per month.
Insane.
And yeah, and I'm just like, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, is this for real? Like, it just sounds a little bit too good. But of course, there are other things, like I got a project manager to come in. So there's fees along with that and your soft costs and everything else. But all in all, it just felt like the right deal. So I didn't even see it personally. Like I saw the pictures, I got the estimates, and I just jumped in and said, let's do it. And I closed in the end of April, and we are probably about 2 weeks away from final rehab now. So I'm excited. Good stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're almost done with rehab.
We're almost done. Yep.
Wow. So 220K acquisition, 125 construction.
105.
105. So 325 plus soft costs, and it could potentially appraise for 450 to 495.
Yes.
Up to 5K a month in rents. And this is your first deal.
Yes.
That's insane.
Like it's not rented yet, right? So we gotta, like, that's the goal next, right? Obviously, to get it fully, ready and put into service, and see if can we really get the rents that, what the neighborhood seems to be able to support, and then get it appraised again.
Wow. So are you really making, what are the soft costs? Should I add the soft costs here a little bit so we can get the real numbers?
Yeah. So I mean, working with the project manager, like
That adds some,
that adds some stuff to it, right? And then there's
Yeah.
like a percentage of the rehab budget. So maybe that's 6,500-ish or so. The loan, what else? I mean, all in, I think so far through August, I've probably come out of pocket maybe 12,000 or so. And maybe it'll take another month or two to get it all rented.
That's it.
Whatever that math is.
Yeah. So you're still making either, let me see. So 115, I'm just like rounding the numbers to 165K in profit on this deal, 115 to 165K in profit. And that's just in the first 6 months.
I hope so.
Oh my
Yes.
God. I am just so hyped up. This is an insane first deal. These numbers sound right for that area. So that's amazing. Oh my goodness. This is so exciting. Look at that. So you completely flipped the script and you said, yes, typically most people go with a 3-bed, 1-bath, but I'm just going to go with a triplex. What made you not afraid to take on such a big project as your first one?
I mean, there's always apprehension, right?
Mhm.
It's like I said, I had gone into real estate about 15 years ago. I was as busy as I described in terms of the type of job that I had. I had no time, I had no community, no mentors, and I just did it, and I weep for that girl, because if I knew then what I know now, oh my God, like I'd be sitting on quite a hefty portfolio. But it was so bad back then. I feel like there's nothing that can happen now that was worse than what I already experienced. And now I have some knowledge. I've got people I can call. I have these calls I can get on and ask questions. So the fear, like it just went away. Like this is nothing. And then I think about like my day-to-day, like, the job that I had, the decisions I had to make, the stakes that were so high. Like this is a cakewalk in comparison to my life, what I was used to. And, things are going to come up and we'll figure it out. That's how I think about it. Like nothing is disastrous. Like it felt like you get up and do something, right? What are you going to go do? Go work at another Fortune 500? No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that for people who have had a stressful job before and who have tried real estate and know where the gaps are, where they were lacking and needed help, I think find it much easier to take action and take the steps. And after hearing your story, just confirms my belief in that it's one, you've already had a very high stakes role. And so you're used to a lot more pressure. And two, you've tried it before and you know where the gaps were. And you're like, you know what? This solves all of those questions. I love that. What do you think? Like if someone just started thinking about investing in real estate today and they were paralyzed by the amount of information that they had to decipher and weed through to make their decisions. What would your advice be for them?
I would say, set realistic expectations for yourself, right? So I think one of the biggest pluses for this program is that it is a step-by-step blueprint for you, right? The amount of information and knowledge you can amass in such a short period of time is immense, right? And I think when I jumped in, I was like, I'm gonna get these modules done by the end of December and read all the SOP, and no, that wasn't happening, right? And what I realized, that what I noticed was, take it piece by piece. So it's like, as you're going through the modules and starting to, then maybe you read the SOPs around that. And as it starts to come up as you're going through your journey, you go back and revisit it. So you don't have to consume it all at one period of time. Chunk it out by piece. Like, even, when you're in corporate, they don't boil the ocean. What are your top 3 priorities? Like, think of it the same way. What are the top 3 things that are going to be relevant to you now to enable you to move to the next piece? And then you will absolutely get there. Information overload doesn't do you any justice. It's there. Go back to it when you need it.
I love that. Yes. This is going to be my next question. Can you maybe think of the top 3 few things that you found most helpful from the program, that if somebody was just starting out, you'd be like, focus here?
Yeah. So we talk about community right here, and maybe, like, let's piece it all together, right? First, your baseline is what I was saying before, in terms of, like, allow yourself to immerse into this experience. And this is how I looked at it. It was an entire experience to be able to educate me from moment to moment on how to do this successfully. I've already done it unsuccessfully, right? Why would I not follow the blueprint to be able to get to that place? Secondly, the accountability that you can have within this group is incredible. So no one forces you to get an accountability group, right? But if you take the steps to reach out to people who are like-minded, right? We're all trying to get to a place, somebody you can share your goals with, and that's going to keep you accountable to, you get on the phone next week and it's like, what'd you accomplish? Last week you said you were going to do this. That's important. And then the folks that, like, the all-stars, they're all-stars on this call right now, folks that have been doing it forever, right? I picked up the phone and reached out to so many people. I don't know if Natasha's still on the break. I was telling them that you were probably one of the first people I reached out to, because I saw you on the call and maybe we were in a breakout, and I said, okay, like, she's been doing this, she knows what she's doing. Let me reach out. Same with Arena. Arena was on the call that my son and I joined before we even committed to the program. And she was just going on and on. I'm like, I got to talk to this girl. These are the people that are, they're in the room, that are making the plays. So I need to get in the room, right? And let the group bring me along, right, on these plays. It was awesome.
She just called you guys all stars. I love that.
It's true. Like, the fact that you make the time to talk to a new member coming in, who I don't, who hasn't proven anything yet and probably can't help you with anything in the moment, to take the time to share your experience and, leave a soundbite or two in my head. Like, I told Rita the other day, we were just communicating, right? What did you say to me? Your job is to find the next deal. And I'm worried about which faucet do I want in apartment 1. And she probably didn't even remember saying that to me. It just plays on repeat. Like, remember what's your end goal, right? You're trying to build this empire and you're worried about, the faucet. Like, leave that to somebody else. Leave it to your team, move on and do what's going to get you to your dreams at the end of the day. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you for giving them a shout out. I love these shout outs.
Thank you. It's important for them to know that, just the time that you take to share some of your knowledge really is helpful for us, because outside of a program, like, where am I getting it from? I'm going left when you're telling me, no, you need to go right. Then, okay, I'm going right. Like, I don't need to argue. Yes, thank you. How many properties do you have? Like, nobody's W-2ing anymore. I'm with you.
Yeah, and thank you guys for, talking to new members and helping them and being open to share your knowledge. We appreciate it so much. That's what makes this community. And you guys are, like, crushing it in your own world and helping others crush it. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, so we have a question for you that is, I don't know, everybody who hears this is interested to know more. I'm interested to know more. Danny and I always talk about it, and it's just so amazing that you're doing this with your kids. Can you talk a little bit about bringing your kids along this journey with you?
I started talking about it and then they got excited, right? And they have their lives, they're social butterflies, they're doing their thing. And then to hear me just start talking about it and them perk up and want to be engaged in that Sunday. Like my son's got other things to do, but he wanted to, plug in and listen. It just shows me that like the mindset that they have is so different. I think back, I guess when I was their age, I had one of them. I had my daughter by that point, and I was just like work full time, school full time at night. Like, who has time to think about these types of things? But it's important because I go back to thinking of how I grew up, and like we were in a place. Like I grew up in Brooklyn, lived with a single mother who was always working. And I'll tell you a story, which is insane that I remember this. I probably was maybe 8 years old, and I can't tell you what happened yesterday, but this I remember. She was on the phone with one of her girlfriends, and she was so excited because her raise was going to kick in to make her salary $28,000 a year. And I remember like, ooh, 28,000. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, we're about to be rich. Like, oh, like that. If she's excited, that means it's a good number, right? And growing up, I have this in my head until you get into the world and you're like, what? Like, how do we even survive on $28,000 a year? But it was a huge thing for her, right? And not that that's where she wanted to. And what's crazy is I ended up working my 30 years at the same company she worked for.
Oh,
So
wow.
just in that, span of time, like clearly I was making way more than that. But the thought of her keeping it together, I was in Catholic school, and she was doing everything she could, but essentially she worked all the time, like overtime and everything else to be able to and give me a better life and just instill certain things in me and everything else. So to be able to pay that forward with my kids, I mean, they're grown now, they have their own lives, but their mindset is not how we're going to pay the rent, keeping our head above water. These are the conversations I remember the adults in my life when I was a child talking about, right? And I got to make sure we pay the rent on time and groceries and this and that. Now I can be talking to my kids about building businesses and not having to trade your time for money, and things that just things different, just different conversations, and having them get excited about it. I wish I was doing this with them 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but it's never too late to start. So here we are.
I love that. Yes. And I love that these memories, like I was also raised by a single mom, and I have very similar memories of a very small amount of money making so much impact
Yeah.
in that life. And as a child, you have no idea how she's doing it. Because like when as an adult, the amount of money that is needed to survive, I don't even know how she was doing it. But then when I look back, we weren't doing most of the things we're doing right now. We lived well, like I wouldn't say we were poor by any means, but we weren't doing most of the things. I don't think we ever took a vacation.
Right.
We weren't doing any of the things we're doing right now. That's how they survived, working hard and doing the best with what they had. So yeah, I love that you shared that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Shelly, I would love to hear this first deal is going so far, so good, which is amazing. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you built your team, right? And kind of like what it took for you to, all right, I've got my solid team in place. I'm going to put this offer in now.
So going back to what I was saying before, like there were so many resources, and like it's super active, like all hours of the night it's pinging, right? And folks are talking about, do you have who's the plumber, who's the this, like all the things, right? Do I have to sign up for this license? Like it is like a master class on the side, right? Like a tentacle of this program where people are talking about, like I said, the best. I want to say vendors, but that's not the right word. But the people that you need to pull yourself together, or have you work with this one, have you work with that? So learning from other people and taking advice, like I would throw things out there and folks would respond, in the chat and so on. So that's what really helped me pull the team together. And then as far as just like pulling the trigger, I just have faith in yourself at the end of the day. Like nothing is foolproof, right? So I could put my money into stocks and who knows what's going to happen with the way the world is going, right? Or I could focus myself on something else, right? It's not guaranteed, but it's worth it and it's fun, and I don't have to put in, 60 hours a week, or and end up with back problems and all of this nonsense, flying every other week and all of this. Like the life is different. I get up, I come in my office, right? I create my day. I'm as successful as the amount of time I want to put into it. And the whole point is to gain assets that are going to work for us, that are going to, it's going to build equity. It's going to give us some cash flow. It's going to be, help us create the legacy that, hopefully will go down to like future grandchildren and so on. It's a different life. It's a different world, so I can do that. Like we just went on this big vacation the other day, and like construction's still happening at the place, like things are still moving. Like, so, nothing stopped. And we just kept going. It was great. So I don't know. I just positive attitude, like in my mind, it's going to work. It has to work. And I still reclaim my life and my time. I'm not beholden to, the shackles. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I mentioned before, my mom used to work for the same company. My mom passed away when I was 18 years old. And from the moment when she died, like what we got from the company was a flower arrangement. That was it, right? And then we had to figure it out after that. So you give your life to these companies, right? And what you get a flower arrangement, like, so thank you, no thanks. Right. I'll rather put my time and energy into something else and buy my own flowers.
I love
Oh,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd rather buy my own flowers and
Yeah,
not
buy
go
my
back to
flowers
corporate.
in my own
Yeah.
time. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
mindset. It's I think a lot comes down to mindset.
Yeah, and you've had such an incredible mindset from the moment I met you, Shelly.
Mhm.
You are incredible, amazing. You're so ambitious, right? You were so ambitious to get that first property, first property. Um, I remember us talking about it, and you're like, Danny, I just want to get my first deal. And here you are. So I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm hoping very much, like if I could score another one like this, I'm trying so hard. We talked about this. Like, I don't know if other folks have used PropStream before. I was talking to a realtor the other day, just that I met at a social event. We were just chatting and we just ended up talking about, what do you do? Oh, I'm a realtor. I'm like, really? Okay. So what do you think about blah, blah, blah? So, we started talking about business. And I was like, I'm really in acquisition mode. And, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm used to like building this pipeline for work. And now I need to build my own pipeline. And she was like, well, if you're not getting anything, think about PropStream, think about this. So again, sometimes just putting it out there, people will give you, little nuggets that potentially might help. Like I can't vouch for it. I just signed up for the free trial yesterday. But the point is to find, like, I can't wait for my phone to ring to find the next deal. So I'm trying to be proactive about that. So hopefully we can get another multi by the end of the year and a short-term rental by the end of the year.
I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to be along this journey with you, Shelly.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I mean, the support means everything, right? And even when I'm doubtful, because now it all still feels like play money and like Monopoly houses, it doesn't even feel real yet. I know it will eventually. Talking to you all makes it feel like, okay, it's solid. It can actually be realized. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys.
I could ask you like 1,000 more questions because everything you're saying is so interesting to me. I want to know what's your mission? If your real estate investing business stands for something, what is that to you? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's a legacy for my family. Like we've never had it. My family history has been survival. So we've never had anything to give to the next generation at the end of the day. And this is important. This is something that I can build, I can hand it over, and it can continue, right? At the end of it, I don't want them to have to start from scratch. Like everybody doesn't have to go through the mud. Like why, right? And somebody already did that in your past and now you can elevate and show a different path for your descendants. At the end, I know it sounds dramatic, but that's how I feel. For everybody, for the kids, for their potential kids, and so forth. Like we do not have to constantly be in a struggle, scarcity, mentality. It's hard to escape it. But the good thing about that, that's come out of that, is hustle, right? So we want to, at the very least, I want them to hustle, right? And like not take it. They don't take anything for granted, but I want them to be as proactive as I am and just excited about the next thing and hustle for it. Like just make it better for who we're going to be able to pass it down to. That's my mission at the end of the day.
It's tough, right? Because when you're always in survival mode, it takes one generation, something completely out of the ordinary. They have to do something completely out of the ordinary to get past that. Like breaking these cycles requires you to really step out of your comfort zone. And so I can see why it's hard. It's been hard to get out of it for the previous generations because of all the shifts it's taken us to get out of it. But I do think that the thing that we pass on is not just the wealth, it's also the mindset and the know how of how to look at life differently. I think that's going to be the biggest thing we pass on because who knows what future has in store for us. So I love that you shared that. I don't know. I feel like the previous generation must have done something with us that was different because it made us want to do this. And so they were like, they kind of put the spark in us to make us do things differently. I think about all the things my mom used to say when I was little. And she would say something like, she'd never sat in an airplane all her life. But I was like a very, what is the word, tardy? Like I was late for things a lot as a kid. And my mom she would like make up these things. And she'd be like, you're going to miss very important flights. When you grow up and become an important executive, you're going to miss very important flights if you don't fix this about you. And I'm like, what? Like there's nothing related to flying going on over here. Like we don't ever even take a vacation, forget flights. But like these are the things like they sparked in us. Like they must have done some things to, because I feel like it was intentional. She was like drilling all this in my head when I was growing up that, well, you're meant to live a different life. So
No,
they must.
it's really it's true. And it's like you sit back and you think about some of these lessons that just pop through. Like, I've lived a long time, right? And for me to kind of remember a little bit of this, a little bit of that I can, put forward with in raising my kids and, hopefully their kids going forward. Like it's important. You think that the kids are not listening until you see them do something that you put that seed in there, and
Yeah.
it doesn't show up
Agreed.
till much later, but it's a good feeling. And you're right, they did plant these seeds, and we're here to manifest them. So
Yeah, love that. Yes. So you said your ultimate goal for next year is to double whatever you end up doing this year. Your goal will be to double that next year. I
yes,
love that. What's your like 5-year vision or 10-year vision?
to be sailing the Mediterranean full time. That's it, and let the kids do all the stuff.
Oh, I love that. Yes, you
Yeah,
guys handle the properties.
yeah. I'll just go. Yeah, I'll sail around the world. That's it. That's my vision.
I love that. For anybody kind of thinking about, you hear this story and you think about she can do this because she's just as my son my son says he's just built different. That's what lately he's been using a lot for everything. She's just built different. Uh, for anybody thinking that, what advice do you have for them?
Go for it. Like I want to say, what do you have to lose? You always have something to lose, right? But there's so much to gain here. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, what else are you going to do that you could potentially build this level of, equity and potential wealth for you and your family? What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's legit, that you could really kind of put down an anchor. To me,
Yeah.
I mean, it may feel, to me, this almost feels like I'm cheating, like the path of least resistance, right? And I know it's not that easy, but that's what it feels like compared to like killing yourself, in the 9 to 5. Like this is easy.
So that was something I wanted to ask you. I couldn't figure out how to ask you. Like even before when we talked before this call started, I was thinking about it. I'm like, how do I ask her this? But how do you have this amazing attitude of it's gonna work out? I'm gonna do this. And you have this zen about you. Danny, can you help me articulate this?
Yes, I'm gonna try.
I was trying to ask you that before too. I'm like, I want that. I want the juice. Like, what is it that
I'm probably being unfair. Like everything is relative, right? I just literally compare this experience to my last 30-year experience. And not that the stakes aren't high, but when you're in that corporate world, it's almost like you're on an annual contract, especially if you're in business development and sales. I used to have a VP at one time that would be like, this is a football team, and right, everybody's on a 1-year contract, and if you don't sign 10 contracts. But he pretty much just said kind of how the machine really works at the end of the day, right? You're only as good as your last big $1 billion give to the company. And considering what's happening in the world, every year for the past 8 years there's been a downsizing. So I have lost members of my team every year for the past 8 years. So it's not like the writing wasn't on the wall. And it wasn't just me, just organizationally speaking. You would think like sales is the last to go. And no, we're in a place where they want you to do more with less. And it just is what it is at the end of the day. So I've come from the hard knocks, and I know what the stakes are, and I know what that feels like, and I know what it takes to keep on that upward trajectory. So compared to this you can fix. There are issues, but you can work around it, you can fix, and you've got a lot of mentors to help you think through different problems. That's all I will say in terms of this being in this community and so on. So
I love
there's
that.
nothing we can't solve. I mean,
Yeah. That's how, honestly, that's how I felt about being in business for myself overall too, compared to being in corporate, because corporate's just so different, where you as a human don't mean much. It's all about like feeding that big machine. You're, what do you say, cog in the wheel. And I really just thought that, and kind of agreeing with what you said. Like, this feels easy in the sense that you wake up and then you're like, this is how I'm structuring my day, and this is what needs to be done, and I'm going to do it. And for those of us who have always been self accountable, it feels super easy. So yeah, love that you said that. Thank you for taking the time and doing this. This was so good, Shelly.
You all are here, right? We're here, which means we made the commitment and we're going to do it. Like I used to tell my team, like, we're not celebrating until everybody's clinking glasses at the end of the year. Like, we all need to make our goals, right? One person doesn't make it, we're not clinking glasses. So we want to clink glasses. So let's support each other to do that. That's it.
I love it. That's so good.
Thank you. This is great.
So-
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We love this so much. I feel like hearing the stories is literally the best part of what we do whenever we have somebody sharing their journey. So if you're watching this, you're next. Thanks for tuning in. If you found today's conversation valuable, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We've got many practical strategies and inspiring stories to help you build lasting wealth through real estate. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.